Hi again. It's me, Will Sharman, your young conservative news reporter. Well, I'd say you already knew the news, but I'm just trying to help you if you don't actually understand what's going on. Right. I've already done the international news today, which was the 9/11, the Quran burning. If you saw my other video, if you haven't, please check it out. It'd be much appreciated. But more locally, the big news at home recently is George Osborne to cut welfare spending by 11 billion, as he's already planned, and then he's going to cut it by another 4 billion, so that's 15 billion altogether. I'll do the maths to save you time. And then he's going to, so that's 15 billion off the current 192 billion pound welfare bill. So, and again, I'll do the maths for you, that's going to come down to 176 billion pounds. That still sounds like an awful lot, but if you think about all the things to do with welfare, then it's not actually that much. But where is this spending actually going to be cut from? George Osborne, who is the current Chancellor of the Exchequer for my party, the Conservatives, has said he says he's very keen to cut benefits, and he's said if people can work, they should work. Because a problem we've had recently is many people who could actually work feel, and it's true and it's fair to them, they earn more on benefits than they do from actually working, which is terrible, really, because in my opinion, the government should encourage people to get out and work, not just sit at home and take benefits. But it hasn't done that, and now we're trying to make that change, so that's good, I feel. But he said he wants to cut this 15 billion pounds off, and the current bill for job seekers allowance, which is money given to people who are looking for work, is 7 billion, and now he wants to cut some of this, so I feel he might cut a couple of billion off that, which is good in a way, but it could hurt a lot of people. But I feel this is mostly good, because then I think if people realise that job seekers isn't going to be that necessarily that easy to get anymore, then there'll be more of an incentive to work, so they'll know that if they don't, they won't get enough money to support them, so that's good. He's also said he's going to cut it off of things like, he said he might cut a bit of disability for people who can't actually physically go to work. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this, because I feel people who do work normally and can't for certain reasons should probably be allowed to have benefits, as we are a welfare state. And I'm very proud to be in this welfare state, so they probably should be allowed. But I think he said he's going to very marginal spending cuts on that, so I feel that's good. There's been talks of spending cuts on the NHS, because, well, one thing I realised I saw it. If you are obese, or rather have a high mass of body fat, shall I say, you can go to hospital and get free on the NHS a gastric bypass, which is just basically they stick something in you and they suck all the fat out. Now, to me, obesity is not a disease, it's something people do to themselves, and they should not be allowed to get this sort of treatment free on the NHS. So I think spending cuts for things like gastric bypasses is a good thing to cut off, and people should pay for them if they do things to themselves. Now, not everyone might agree with this, but I think most people do actually agree, except from the people getting these gastric bypasses, that it is a good thing to stop. So he's announced some spending cuts on things like that in the NHS. He's yet to actually announce everything he plans to cut, but I think a lot of people, the main feeling is he can't. George Osborne, I keep referring to him as he, even though he is a he, but you know what I mean. He can cut. Everyone feels he can do this, and he can cut the 15 billion off, and we will be alright. But it's quite harsh in a way. I think that's also another opinion of a lot of people. They're like, well, yeah, he could take that away, but it's going to be quite hard for a while. So I think we're going to have to gradually cut it down instead of doing it in one big chunk at a time. But apart from that, I agree with his spending cuts. So if you hear anything in the news mentioned about welfare spending cuts, or George Osborne announces cuts, you'll know what this is about. This is about cutting things like benefits, NHS spending, and any other things that fall into welfare. So if you hear that, you know what that's about now, and I hope you've enjoyed this because it's been more national news. And as I said earlier, check out my other video on the international 9/11 news, and I hope you've enjoyed this and it's been helpful in you understanding what's going on. I'll see you next time for the next big stories. It's been your young conservative Will Sharman. I'll see you next time.